Hey guys, I'm Grace, if you don't know me already. Um, I'm sorry if I'm a little awkward talking into the camera. I don't do this a lot. Um, but I am doing this because I decided I wanted to share um, my diabetes story, my diabetes diagnosis story. Um, I was diagnosed a little over 3 months ago, and a lot of what has helped me through this time has been seeing other people's experiences online and being able to relate and honestly know that I'm not alone in this, even though sometimes it feels like I am. Um, but I know I'm not. And so if my story can help someone else with that too, somewhere down the line, like I would be honored. So here it is. Um, I am 22 years old. I was diagnosed a little over 3 months ago when I was still 21. And yeah, that was October 9th of 2017. I never thought it would happen to me. It wasn't even on the radar. So basically, what happened was that um, I've been losing a lot of weight to the point where like I brought it up with my friends. It's like, hey guys, I'm losing a lot of weight. Like, should I go see a doctor? Like, I don't think I need to. I'm the kind of person that avoids doctors at like all costs if I can. Um, but it was getting to the point where I was actually concerned, and I don't really get concerned easily. And so I finally went and saw a doctor. I was like, hey man, something's wrong. I think it's my hormones. Like, I think my thyroid is like out of whack. He's like, all right, we'll do some blood tests. We'll figure it out. He gives me a call later in the week. He's like, so your blood test came back. I want you to come back tomorrow so you can talk to me. I was like, that doesn't sound good. So I went back tomorrow, the next day, to see him, and he's like, you have really high blood sugars, and we wanted to double check with your A1C, and your A1C is 14.1. Your fasting blood sugar was 400 something. I don't remember, but he was like, I'm setting up. We have an endocrinologist downstairs. I'm setting an appointment with her for you for Monday, which is like 2 days later. It was a Friday. And I was like, all right, what do I do in the meantime? He's like just learn about diabetes, but you're young, and like I really think you can turn this around and get your blood sugars back down. And I was like, oh, okay. By the way, do I have like type 1 or type 2? And he's like, you can get your blood sugars back down. Like I think you have type 2. I was like, oh, okay. So that entire weekend I did all this research on type 2 diabetes, and it was like, this is typically associated with people who live a sedentary lifestyle, have like a little bit like more weight on them. And I'm sitting there like, I weigh 82 pounds. I don't think I have type 2 diabetes. I mean, like, yeah, I sat around a lot this summer because I worked like a desk job, but okay. And so I was like, I'll just go talk to the endocrinologist. I get to her office on Monday, and the nurse came in and started checking my vitals, like blood pressure, great. Temperature, great. Blood sugar. Girl, your blood sugar, I'm quoting this male nurse. He goes, girl, your blood sugar is 680 something. I don't remember. That's not part of the quote. He's like, that is way too high. And I remember responding to him and saying, haha, okay. Because I had no idea what any of those numbers meant. Um, Nor did I understand what a 14.1 A1C meant either. I had no idea what any of these things were. Um, by the way, a normal blood sugar for like a regular person is around 80. I was at 680 something. And a normal A1C level is about like 5 to 6, I believe. Diabetics typically sit at like 6 to 7. And mine was at a 14. And so the endocrinologist was like, I am sending you to the hospital today because I think you're in diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a state of your body when um, your cells are starving because you don't have insulin um, in your body. And what insulin does is it handholds sugar and moves it into the cells of your body. So without insulin, my blood sugar was getting really high because the sugar was staying in the blood. And then my body was starving because the sugar is not moving into my cells. So what your body does is it kicks into starvation mode and it starts breaking down the fat in your body. When that happens, it produces these things called ketones, and those also release into your blood. Ketones are highly acidic, and it's okay when fat breaks down and releases small amounts of ketones in your blood. That's just called ketosis, and that's okay if it's managed. Ketoacidosis is when you have high ketones. And when you have high ketones, you have acidic blood and you get really sick. That's why they're like expecting me to be super nauseous and vomiting, which I was previously, but not like at that exact moment. Um, and even before I went to the endocrinologist that day, I was actually sitting in school, like catching up on some work. And I remember going to the bathroom at school, looking in the mirror at myself. And I was like, wow, I look like death. Like that word, that exact word. Because my face was so gaunt. Like not just skinny, like gaunt. And the circles under my eyes were so dark. Like my face just like sunken in. And I really looked like crap. And I remember getting on the phone with my friend that day. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't go to the doctor today. Like, and I was crying on the phone to her. And I'm not typically that emotional of a person. I was like, I feel like crap. Excuse my language. I feel like crap. Like, why am I crying right now? Like, what is going on? And, all is revealed. When your body is actually dying, that explains a lot. But I got to the hospital. They're like, you're in severe DKA, and you're going to be here for a few days. They had me hooked up to an IV. They had me hooked up to insulin. And then apparently having that amount of insulin like lowers your potassium levels, so they had me popping like potassium pills all the time. But that was also probably the worst night of my life. I didn't sleep at all. I was in a cold sweat all the time because like my blood sugar levels were constantly dropping drastically because of just like insulin pumping through my system now. And they had to take like 4 vials of blood out of me every 4 hours. And they had to prick my fingers every hour. They had this automatic blood pressure thing on my arm that went off every hour. The EKG monitor is attached to my chest, and that's beeping constantly. And I hate needles, by the way, so the fact that they were poking me this way and that, I had multiple IVs in my arm. I've never been so brought down to my knees as in that moment. But as much of a horror story as my diagnosis story is and was, it's also what saved me. Like without that diagnosis, the doctor was like, if you hadn't come in today, you would have come in tomorrow in a coma. That's how bad your situation is right now. And I was like, whoa, and I thought I was okay. But, it's been a learning process. I'm still learning. I'm only 3 months in. And, people who've been living with this for years are still learning. And I think I'll always be learning about my body, how it works, how to be my own pancreas consciously. Something that I'm learning right now is, how to deal with my weight. I'm currently 123 pounds. And that's the heaviest I've ever been. And that means I gained 40 pounds over 3 months. That's a lot. When I see that number on the scale, I'm not happy, but I also am very aware. I need to keep reminding myself that, hey, at least you're not 82 pounds and dying. You're sitting at 123, but you can lose weight. You can do it. Like, it's much better to be where you are now than where you were before. And that's what matters. Um, like, learning. I'm learning what my body, I'm relearning everything. What it means to be full. I never understood that in the months leading up to my diagnosis. Like, just things like that. Like, how to even eat anymore. It's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing to describe, but I'm still learning, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. If you hated the video, I'm sorry that you just spent the last 10 minutes watching this. Um, but I hope it helps someone out there. So that's all.